Hey. What's happening, people? This is the newest episode of the DZN Podcast. It is episode 49. Let's make some noise. Hold on, let's make some noise, man. Hold on. Yeah. And I'm gonna talk about today how I don't know anything. And that's it. But as always, like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on all podcasting platforms and make sure you share this to everybody you know so we can get more listeners, man. This is Dre from the DZN Podcast, and let's get to this music, man.
All praises are due. He created me and you. All praises are due.
Hey, Dre.
All over the land.
It's a DZN Podcast. DZN Podcast. DZN Podcast. DZN Podcast. DZN Podcast. It's a DZN Podcast every day, every Monday. And the podcast, DZN Podcast every day, every Monday. It's a DZN Podcast every freaking Monday. DZN Podcast on the radio. DZN Podcast all on the streaming platform. DZN Podcast every day, every morning in the podcast, whether you listening to this, it's a DZN Podcast. It's a DZN Podcast every morning, every night, DZN Podcast. Every day you want to listen to another podcast, it's the DZN Podcast.
Spread his name. Spread his name.
Podcast.
Spread his name.
Podcast.
Spread his name.
Podcast. Oh yeah. It's the DZN Podcast. I'm your host, Dre, as always. And I was having a conversation with one of my friends last week. Shout out to Justin. And we had a really in-depth conversation about our ideas about what we think about certain things, such as voting, if it's going to do anything or not. And it came to a point in the conversation when we came to a crossroads, I would say. Because it's like, you have these ideas and such, but who said them? Even though you can go to these resources, these different people about who said this and said that, but in reality, that could have been somebody else wrote that wasn't true. So you never know if the truth you seek is really going to ever be the truth. And I said, I was stumped because he was right. And that's all I've been thinking about for the past few days was, do we ever know the truth about anything going on around us? Ever? I guess our beliefs is just what it is going to be. And even that, it may not even be true. So I guess everyone's just going to have their ideas and differences, and it's just going to be that. And I came to a point when I was like, yeah. And I'm just going to have to accept that. Interesting. When you talk to certain people about certain things, you get certain realizations that you never would come across before. And I realized that I don't know anything. And not saying that I'm dumb or stupid, it's just, I don't know. As much as you can learn, as much research you do, you still may never find the truth. So are you really going to ever find the answers you're looking for? And even if you do, are those going to be the real answers? I guess we'll never know. And that's my conclusion, I guess. We will just never know, for real. But some people do. Some people have a great intuition about what really happened in anything, not even just history, but even in certain events, certain ways. Music was created certain ways, products were created about the real truth. But some or most of us may just never know. And I guess that's okay. But as always, do your own research to find out what you want to find out about whatever it is. And whatever you believe, you just believe. But it is a belief, so if it's true or not, who knows? But yeah, I guess that's what I came across. We may never find the answers unless we find it for ourselves, and whatever's good enough for us, then those will be our answers. But will they ever be the true answers? Who knows? So that's pretty much all I got. Who really knows? Will you ever find the answers? Who knows? But yeah, man, this is Dre from the DZN Podcast. If you would like to follow us, you can follow the DZN Podcast on Instagram at d.z.n.podcast. And you want to follow us on Twitter, follow us at DZN Podcast on Twitter. And also, if you want to follow us on all social media platforms, as well as where you can find the podcast, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Search DZN Podcast, or on YouTube, DZN Podcast Network, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere where you find podcasts. We will be there. And on that note, if you want to follow Zoe, follow him at young_Pluto08 and Nas on Instagram, nv.z_. And until next time, this is Dre from the DZN Podcast. Whatever time you're listening to this, morning, noon, or night, appreciate you for listening. This is the end of the DZN Podcast.